Welcome back to Sailing El Jaleo! After spending a couple of nights at a marina in Savannah, Georgia, we set our sights on Florida and started making some serious progress to get there. Georgia has a reputation for having very shallow spots on the ICW, and we discover if that is true or not. Alright, let's go ahead and get right into it. Grab a drink, climb aboard, and let's get going! After spending a couple of days at Savannah Bend Marina in Savannah, Georgia, we got our battery bank fully topped up, we topped up our water tanks and our fuel tanks and all of our jerry cans, and we got all of our laundry done, and we had a really good shopping trip and got a ton of fresh veggies. So we knew with any luck, if we had some good weather, we got some sun and wind power, it would probably be around a month before we'd have to stop at a marina to resupply again. You saw last week we had several narrow cuts that we had to get through that were very shallow, and we had to time it to do it correctly with the tides. And this is going to become more of an issue as we get further into Georgia and as we reach Florida. This is a little bit of a spoiler, but right now, as I'm recording this, I'm currently anchored next to Fort Matanzas by the Matanzas Inlet in Florida. And down here and in Georgia, there are ever-changing shoals. So by the ocean where all the inlets are, the sand constantly shifts. There are shoals that are unmarked or they're just ever-changing. And sometimes the buoy locations, they get updated, sometimes they don't. So it can be a little bit tricky. And we have actually run aground on several occasions. The first time we ran aground was in Georgia, and it was actually as we were approaching Savannah Bend Marina. One of their T-docks, the first one that we tried to dock at, was actually just a little bit too shallow. I got there right at low tide, and we just bumped into the bottom, so I couldn't reach the dock. It was no big deal. I backed right out. No fuss, no muss. Went to a different T-dock, and it was a little bit deeper there, so we were able to get in there no problem. I don't even really consider that to be a grounding. We just bumped into a little bit of mud, backed out, no problem. In the upcoming weeks, there would be more groundings. One of them, at least one, was pretty significant, and we actually had to get towed out by Towboat US. It was a little harrowing because the tide was going out, so we were starting to list to the side more, and yeah, you'll hear about that in coming weeks. While I was in Savannah, Georgia, I ended up meeting another boater who, surprisingly enough, had a slow boat as well. His boat actually, if you can believe it or not, ended up being slower than mine, which I didn't actually think was possible, but it was. So he was going to Florida also, so we decided to kind of travel together over the next few days. And we would leapfrog each other. We wouldn't always stay at the same spot at the same night. And right now we're separated again by 30 or 40 miles, and that is just kind of the way it's been going. But it's nice to have someone there that, you know, if you get in trouble, you can call them or they can call you, and it's kind of nice. As you can see, we hadn't been able to shake the heavy fog that had been plaguing us through most of Georgia. This morning we had to go through an especially treacherous cut known as Hell's Gate, and this was a man-made cut that connected two natural bodies of water. This cut was very close to the coast, and it was very treacherous. The currents were very strong, and the currents actually transitioned halfway through the cut between the two bodies of water, so the seas were very confusing. On one side of the cut, we were going between 5 and 6 knots, and on the other side of the cut, we were only going 1.6 knots because the currents had shifted that drastically. Over the next few days, we did have to contend with a couple of shallow spots in the Intracoastal Waterway, the shallowest being in Jekyll Creek, which is right behind Jekyll Island. We managed to go through right at high tide, which is 6.5 feet deeper than low tide, and I did see depths of only 8.5 feet while going through Jekyll Creek. So Jekyll Creek at low tide is maybe only 2 to 2.5 feet deep, which certainly would not be deep enough for us to make it through. After making it by Jekyll Island, the Intracoastal Waterway actually goes out into the ocean for a little bit. It's just a quick U-turn to get around a shoal in St. Andrews Sound. On the south side of St. Andrews Sound is a beautiful island called Cumberland Island. There's an old lighthouse on it. It's got sandy beaches and palm trees. It's a very beautiful island. At this point, we were getting dangerously close to Florida. I think we were only around 10 miles away from the Florida-Georgia border, and the shoals really started to be an issue at this point. Here you can see we're going by a shoal that actually extends out into the channel between the two red markers. And I know they're red because they're triangles, not squares. I'm colorblind, so seeing channel markers is, for me, impossible at night because I can't tell the color difference. But it's cool because the channel markers on the, well, I was going to say, in this case, on the starboard side are red because they're triangle-shaped markers, and in this case, on the port side, they would be green because they'd be square-shaped markers. And they do have different colored, or different shaped buoys, rather. When there aren't markers, sometimes there are buoys, and the red buoys have a rounded top, or like a cone-shaped top, and the green buoys have a cylindrical top. So you can tell the difference, at least I can during the day, based on color. That being said, this is the stupidest system that anyone ever could have possibly come up with. I don't know what in the heck they were thinking, and I guess it's too ingrained to change now. You would think one side of the channel would always be one color, the other side would always be the other color, but they've got this stupid rule. It's called red right returning. So you keep the red markers on your right hand side when you're returning from the ocean. Well, when you get inland, at what point are you returning from the ocean, and at what point are you returning to the ocean? So they have these demarcation lines all over the place where instantly the markers change sides. And it's stupid. It makes no sense. It's just like driving on a highway. You stay on your side of the road. We do it different than everyone else in the world. I get that. We drive on the wrong side of the road, but riding a boat anywhere inland or anywhere where there's channel markers, it's just like driving a car. You stay on your side of the road. I don't know why they made it so complicated. Good morning, y'all. Today, it's sometime in January. I think it's January 8th or 9th. It's the last day of NFL football, so I have found a spot here. This here is either Crooked Creek or Crooked River. I can't remember which. And the moon is still out. I don't know if you can see that. But we're going to stay here today and work on editing a video this morning and watch some football this afternoon. Final NFL week before the playoffs, so that'll be exciting. Right over here, I don't know if you guys can see those big buildings back there. Sometimes in this cinematic mode I've got the camera in, it's difficult to see things in the distance. But there are some big buildings right over here a couple miles away, and that's Kings Bay submarine base, so that's kind of neat. And just down the river over here, about 6 miles, is the Florida-Georgia state line. So we're one day away from Florida, which is kind of exciting. And last night we did see lots of dolphins in through here, so hopefully today we can get some actual video of them. They're pretty hard to actually catch on camera. They're elusive creatures. And we saw a bunch of baby dolphins yesterday, which was really cool. They were maybe 3 feet long. They were surfacing in pairs. It was pretty darn cute. So, I suppose we should get to work and start editing a video so we can relax this afternoon and watch some football. Alrighty, I hope you all are well. Hey y'all, I know I just blabbed at you a few hours ago. Today is the 8th of January. It's the final NFL Sunday of the year, at least for regular season. And I might have said the 9th earlier. I think I messed that up, but it is so nice out. I should be downstairs editing videos. I did actually start one, and my heater has a 16-hour time limit on it, and once it reaches that, it shuts off. Then you have to restart it. And It shut off and I didn't even notice. That's how warm it is out. And it's only 60 right now, but it feels like 70 plus. The sun is out. We've had so little sun ever since I left Delaware City. I could count the number of sunny days on my two hands, and the last 3 days have just been absolutely gorgeous. I'm kind of having a real hard time concentrating on doing some work right now. So it's a beautiful Sunday morning. I think I'm actually going to sit up here, read a book, and drink a beer. Right now I'm reading Shogun by James Clavell. I don't know if any of you guys have ever read it. It's a pretty popular book. It's a big one. It's, I don't know, 1,100 pages, somewhere around there. And I think I'm around a little over halfway through, but it is just a phenomenal book. If you guys haven't read it, I highly recommend it. I love historical fiction. It's my favorite genre of literature, and this book is just amazing. It's a little bit slow in the beginning, but once you get to page 400, you just can't put it down. It becomes so enthralling. It's just an amazing look at historical Japan. So if that kind of thing interests you, check out Shogun. I'm gonna go read and drink a warm, what is it, Busch Light. I think I'm living the dream. Hope y'all are well. Since I had anchored so close to Kings Bay submarine base, I figured I might as well break out the drone and see how close I could get to it. Kings Bay submarine base is a base of the United States Navy located on the East River in southeastern Georgia and is approximately 38 miles from Jacksonville, Florida. And there are the dogs, wrestling away upstairs. Sorry, I've been trying to record this for 20 minutes now, and the dogs keep scampering around and fighting, which is what they're supposed to be doing, so I'm not going to stop them, but it makes this difficult. Anyway, the submarine base is the U.S. Atlantic Fleet's home port for the U.S. Navy's fleet of ballistic nuclear... What do you need, Hoob? What's going on, buddy? Relax, Hoob. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, you're okay. Well, what's happening to you right now, huh? Oh, I know it's tough. Are you okay, Wiegand? Can you give me a minute so I can get this recording done? I've been trying to do this for a half an hour now. How about if I give you a treat quick? Would a quick treat work? Oh, okay. Let's do a quick treat. Let's do a quick bone and then I'll get this done. Good job. As I was saying, the submarine base is the U.S. Atlantic Fleet's home port for the U.S. Navy fleet of ballistic missile nuclear submarines, capable of being armed with Trident nuclear missiles. This submarine base covers about 16,000 acres, of which 4,000 acres are protected wetlands. And that's all we have time for this week. I'd love to give a massive shout out to my Patreon crew. Without your guys' support, I absolutely would not make these videos, so thank you very much. And my Patreon crew is Joan and Juddy Judnick, Edwin Sauter, Val and Chris Alcorn, Denise and Eli Sackett, Joan and Jim Linbo, Sherry Erickson, Deb Shaw, and Matthew Spotten. Thank you guys so much for your support. You guys are really just keeping me going at this point, which I appreciate. And there are the dogs again. I just can't get away from them today. If you are interested in becoming a member of our Patreon crew, there is a link in the description down below. It'll send you to our Patreon page where you can sign up. It starts off as low as $3 a month, so it's pretty cheap. and that gets you all of the bonus features. There are photos, videos. I try and make it as affordable as possible. You can see where we're at, current updates. I try and post a little something at least 4 or 5 times a week while I'm traveling, so you guys know where I'm at and what's going on. And you would help support the channel, which is awesome. If you do like our videos, please like, comment, and subscribe. That helps us out as well. Alrighty, I hope you all are well, and we'll see you next week.